Remember, if you order a Cuban without pickles, you ain't Cuban. I'm sorry, was that fucking not politically correct?
Come on, man.
How about this shit? This motherfucker, the Democratic nominee, goes on Charlemagne the God's show, one of the most popular radio shows. And this motherfucker tells black people,
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for...
Sup, bitches? Y'all caught me in the middle of changing. I'm trying to get all fresh and clean for the camera, and here I am. So today, I've got something really special for you. So we get a lot of people that come into Shaner's. They look at the sandwich menu and they say, what's your favorite? There's so much good stuff to choose. There's only one answer that I say every single time. It's the hot pressed Cuban. And I'm gonna show you how to make it Giudini style. The most important ingredient, maybe not the most important, but the bread. We get it from Casino Bakery. You guys have probably heard of it. One of the oldest bakeries in, Tampa. They make the best Cuban bread. We get this shit delivered to us fresh every day except for Wednesdays and Sundays. 35-inch loaf. We're gonna make about a 7-8 inch Cuban. Follow me. I don't know how factual this is, but I always claim we make the best Cuban north of Havana. Funny thing is, the Cuban sandwich didn't come from Havana. It didn't come from Miami. It came from Tampa. Tampa was the originator. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
Come on, man.
Typically, you use a nice, use a Boar's Head Deluxe ham. When I make my own, I like to use Boar's Head's Black Forest ham. In my opinion, it is the best product that Boar's Head makes. You slice it nice and thin. It's got an amazing flavor, a little sweetness, but not too overpowering. The next ingredient we're gonna use on the Cuban is Boar's Head's hard salami. So there's two different types that, most people get. There's the Genoa and the hard. Hard is more of a smoky, it's smaller. The Genoa is a little larger. It's got peppercorns in it. Slice it thin. 4 pieces should suffice. This is gonna be a big ass Cuban. Got our fresh roasted pork loin. Now that is a big, big piece. So we're gonna go thin. 1, 2. Hey, so the last ingredient before we put this bad dog together, Boar's Head's imported Swiss cheese. And we're gonna put 2 pieces on this bitch. Oh, your boy makes a mean Cuban. I don't know if I ever told you, but your boy's nice in the kitchen. The kitchen magician, the constructor of sandwiches. I'm like Bob the Builder in this bitch. I am fucking stupid.
Pardon me?
So, we've got our stuff cut. Ba-la-la. Yellow mustard. Some people like mayonnaise. We'll put a little tiny bit of mayonnaise on there, but not much. And in my opinion, other than the bread, the most important fucking ingredient of a Cuban sandwich is some nice sliced pickle. You know what really fucking grinds my gears? I get some fucking cocksucker that calls in and says, yo, let me get a Cuban with no pickle. That's fucking blasphemy. That's blasphemy. As Joe Biden would say, if you order a Cuban with no pickles, then you ain't Cuban. I'm sorry, was that fucking not politically correct? How about this shit? This motherfucker, the Democratic nominee, goes on Charlemagne the God's show, one of the most popular radio shows. And this motherfucker tells black people,
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
this fucking George Floyd shit happens in Minneapolis. What a fucking tragedy. Also, what great timing. Is Joe Biden that lucky? We ain't even talking about COVID-19, let alone Jim Crow Joe Biden. So, we laid our ham on, we laid our salami on, now we've got our roast pork. Fold that on there real nicely like. Ooh, that's a meaty sandwich. We got our cheese. We're gonna let it hang over the side so it gets nice and crusted on. Look at that. Next step, straight to the grill. Press that bad dog just like that. And like most things, I don't time this shit. We're just gonna go by look and feel. And I feel like leaving it on for about 7-8 minutes right now. All right guys, so it's been about 7 minutes or so. Cuban's looking nice. Come over this way. You can see the cheese is getting nice and crusty right there on the bottom. Let's flip it and see how the bread looks. Oh yeah, nice and brown, nice and hard. We're gonna get a nice crunch on there. We'll flip that. And we're gonna let it sit on that side for, you guessed it, 7 fucking minutes.
You go back and take a look.
All right, kids, so it's been about another 7 minutes. We're gonna check on our Cuban. Oh, that looks money. Nice and hard and crispy. Remember, unless they cut your Cuban at an angle, this shit ain't real. Pickles, mustard, and a diagonal cut. I already know how this is gonna taste, because I make these shits at least once a week for myself. However, Aunt Diane says I need to taste it for the camera. It's hot. Fuck. As good as always. Remember, Shaner's Land and Sea, we didn't create the Cuban, but we fucking perfected that shit. This shit right here, best Cuban sandwich in the Tampa Bay area. Shout out to the Columbia, Bodega, Floridian. Y'all wanna have a Cuban cook-off? Just remember, the best Cuban north of Havana is made by a Jew in St. Pete. Shalom, motherfuckers. And Come holler at me next time. Great Judini. Don't forget, click the link, watch the whole video, like it, share it, tell your mother, tell your father, tell your grandparents. Everybody can get down on with some Judini. Shalom, motherfuckers. Remember, authentic Cuban loaf. You can use a sub roll, but it's not going to be the same. Cuban bread, they make it with lard. Nice and crispy, stays nice and soft on the inside. We're using roast pork. Use about a 1/4 pound of ham, 4 or 5 slices of hard salami, 2 pieces of Swiss cheese, mustard, and don't fucking forget the pickles. If you order a Cuban without pickles, you ain't Cuban.